Hey, welcome to our premiere show. I'm Kristin. That's Nick, my co-host there, and welcome. So this is our Appalachia StarSeed Reunion, a recap live stream premiere show. Welcome. Nick is my co-host. Hey, Nick.
How you doing? Good. How are you doing tonight?
Awesome. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. That's right.
Yeah, I know you have some big news. We caught you right at the live stream there. On what was that? Cutting up maybe some moving boxes.
Yeah. I just moved into my new apartment for the first time, living by myself. So
awesome.
Big news today. I moved some stuff in today. Gonna work on more of that Sunday. I'll get all of my big stuff. I rented a U-Haul, get a trailer going on, get everything going on in here, and then I'm gonna be moving in full time on Sunday. So.
Congratulations. That's awesome. It's so cool that we're able to do our premiere show. Is this your first night there?
Yeah, it's my first night. I signed the lease and got the keys today, actually.
Awesome. Well, how cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So let's see. We have some guests to bring on. And before we do that, I thought it would be cool if we kind of shared with the audience a little bit about why we're doing these Friday night live streams, recap shows from our reunion a few weeks ago. So I thought I'd start. I've prepared some. I've been thinking about it, and as most of y'all know, I'm pretty introverted. Nick's pretty introverted. A lot of us are really introverted. So I like to say when the introverts come out, and certainly when the introverts are doing freaking live streams, something's up. There's a big deal. Like there's a reason that we want to do that. It's not for I joke, I say it's not for the fame and fortune by any means.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So the main thing that drives me is, like Nick, we got kind of activated. We have this kind of warrior spirit, in the past, I had this mission that I wanted to save the world or whatever, free humanity from slavery, et cetera. But really it's evolved into, no, that's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is creating something better, creating an alternative. And the best way I know to do that, the only way I really know to do that is to co-create it in a community. And I think that lack of community or destruction of community has been part of maybe, I don't like to talk about fearful things, but maybe part of a plan to erode our society or keep us weak or that kind of thing. So that's the main reason I do it, because I feel it's service to humanity, the best thing I can do to help us create something better for ourselves. Yeah. So what do you think? Why do you like doing these kinds of things?
For me, this is definitely out of my realm of what I'm used to. So this part of my life, I'll go into it a little more, but like why I'm doing this. But for this part of my life, I'm really stepping out of my comfort zone, really expanding, really growing. Like I'm moving out on my own, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. I just went to the UK. I'm doing a lot of things that are out of my comfort zone. I just co-hosted, the StarSeed Reunion, which is out of my comfort zone again. So the reason I like doing this stuff and what got me really started was I really wanted to learn my mind and learn why I operate the way I do. And what I do is everything that I've learned, I now try and help people figure out their own minds. I know, there's a deeper level, there's a spiritual level of this, but for me to impact more people, I think the common person needs to understand their mind first. That you can help more people by learning their mind, because that'll help everybody. Not everybody is deep into a spiritual path. Even like me, I'm still dabbling in it, honestly. Mm-hmm. But I've learned that understanding the spiritual path in, meditation, yoga, just even like simple things like that really helps the mind. But to me, and to go with what you were saying, is that I started out and I was like, I need to change the system. I'm going to go in the system and like change the system and like just think that's going to work. Well, then I realized that as I studied business a lot more. I was like, how do businesses operate? People don't say, we're going to use an example, Yahoo back in the early 2000s was the most popular search engine and all that stuff. Well, people didn't go into Yahoo and try and change Yahoo. What they did, Google created their own brand new platform. They created their brand new system and they overtook Yahoo. Now we can debate on Google. That's just an example. You know what I mean? The example is you don't go in and try and change a system. You create a brand new system of your own that's better than the old system. And then people will slowly come over as they see that it's better, and they make you feel better, and they provide a better product, a better service. And they'll start to align with what you're doing, and eventually you start taking over. And I see that happening already in society. And to me, I see people just trapped in their minds. They're trapped in fear, anxiety, depression. They don't know what to do. The services are not there. And I remember when I was like that, and I was just in an endless search of information, figuring myself out. And I want to be able to provide that for other people. And when you can do that, you get people away from their fear, then the system can change too. So so like I said, it's like creating something new. I can't go in there and change the system, but I can help people understand their minds. And as they understand their minds, their brains open up and they start to see around them. And then they start asking questions. Right. That's all you need to do. Just get people to ask questions.
Well, yeah, a couple of things you said there are triggering some thoughts for me in terms of definitely an agreement in terms of creating something new and creating a container where you can safely, so the opposite of fear, where you can feel safe. That was part of our intention with this reunion, to create a place where you can feel safe to create something new. Let's bring on some of our guests and see what they have to say. I want to get them in on this. So I'm going to bring on Kristin Hendricks. Hi, Kristin.
Hi,
Kristin.
And Aranyani and Adrigon. So welcome, you guys. We were just kind of warming the crowd up here while some people joined us, talking about why we're doing these live streams, but in more general, talking about why we do the gatherings and kind of our missions in life. But so thanks for being here, you guys. You guys are both integral parts of our reunion, played such beautiful roles in different areas. And so I thought maybe we could start by letting each of you tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe what drew you to the reunion, and maybe what you took from the reunion. Kristin, you want to go first?
Sure. So my name is Kristin Hendricks, and I live out of the Appalachia, right? I live in the flatlands of central Illinois. But I was drawn to the event that we just held earlier this month for a couple of reasons. The first reason being that my husband and I are developing a project that we hope to establish and birth in that area of North Carolina. So I saw it as a great opportunity to connect with people of like minds and like hearts, and more importantly, we were drawn to the event because we were just really divinely guided to be a part of it. So my main theme, I guess, at this point in my life is the soul awakener. So I'm here to help awaken humanity to the remembrance of who we are as soul, to help pioneer, this new earth, new paradigm that we're birthing. And, I think what I took away from the event, the main thing I took away was just what it's going to be like and feel like to be a part of community, which is a big theme for what the new timeline is all about. So I felt like it really gave me a glimpse into, what that can really feel like and what that can be like.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. And I totally felt that way. And I apologize. Still kind of a rookie at learning how to do this. And I didn't see Rob down there. I thought he left us, but then I scrolled down and I saw you. So I'm adding Rob. He's one of our guests at the reunion and has just a unique perspective and lots of good insights. So thank you for being here, Rob. We're just kind of going around doing some introductions, just kind of telling a little bit about yourself, what drew you to the gathering and kind of what you took from the gathering. Kristin just shared her thoughts, and I don't want to skip over Aranyani, so I'm gonna let them go next, and I'm gonna give you a minute to think about it and answer that question for us, if you don't mind.
Great.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Aranyani and Adrigon, you were speakers during the event. You were with me during other events, and I know you've done similar events around the area. Tell us what drew you and what you took from our gathering.
Well, Adrigon is flying, so I will share. It's interesting because Nick opened up with what a Buckminster Fuller quote, in my opinion, that in order for a system to be obsolete, you just build a new paradigm. And I feel like I've been doing that since 2005, but really delved in since 11/11/11. And, my interest with going to this gathering was, as we've done hundreds of transformative and conscious festivals, especially in Western North Carolina, that I wanted to go to a gathering that was really in integrity and holding that container and that vision, because I don't think people realize that, there's nothing new under the sun. And finally, this area is super, super coming online. There's hundreds of new Earth communities here in the Western Carolina mountains. And so I felt that it was just time to really come into an event where there was a lot of intention. It wasn't just mixing up and throwing in ingredients and just coming up with a potluck soup. It was like planning the ingredients and, coming together with an intention, a mission, and a vision. And that's what's going to bring us online for another dimension with Ascension. And so I really wanted to experience that, because I knew one of the space holders that was holding the core of that container, that I have been fortunate to know for about over 15 years. And I felt that it was really going to be held in that container, where it wasn't just a hodgepodge of new age, new earth ideas, but how we could really come together now more than ever in a timeline where it seems like the rubber meets the road, and how we can bring these visions in fairly quickly and understand too that other folks are doing it. And so I've always been kind of a cross-pollinator, so my heart was to bring in the wisdom that, there's nothing new under the sun. There's galactic new earth communities that are using 0-point energy, that are holding that integrity for sustainability on the next wavelength, and they have been doing it for 20, 30 years. Oroville is going to open up a small chapter in Fountain, South Carolina, on 300 acres. So these things are happening, but I really just wanted to be available to people that, had missions and visions, and try to find a way to link and cross-pollinate and continue the circuit. So it does become that Buckminster Fuller quote, which I hold his, his teachings in my heart very seriously, because he understood things on a deeper wavelength consciousness way before, everybody was getting online with the New Earth communities. He understood, and that was, in the 30s. He had that down.
Right. Yeah. Let me cut you off just a little. I want to shift gears a little bit. Let me ask you, what did you take from me? What did I understand why you were drawn and what your kind of expectations were. And was there any surprises, or is anything that you took away that you weren't expecting, or?
The event was in integrity. I need to say that. It was in coherence. There was energy management there. There was even, with the slight glitches and hiccups that happen in any event, that there was, if you will, a tipping point of integrity that I felt. It was a coherent event. And not to say, that everything was perfect.
Right.
It's never like that in New Earth community. I've never seen it like that yet. But It was in the integrity. And that was really awesome and refreshing. It held the container, and I'm not going to give it a percentage, but at a large percentile, it held the integrity. And that I was very grateful to experience that.
Aw, thank you. I felt that the energy was very special and unique, and I think it did have to do with a lot with what you're saying, the intention, the planning, and those kinds of things. So thank you for sharing all of that. That's awesome. Well, what do you think, Rob? You came as a guest. You kind of really didn't know any of us before. You kind of knew us just through social media. And so this was your first time experiencing one of our gatherings in person. I know you've done the live stream the first year we did Camp Disclosure, but tell us kind of what your thoughts, what drew you to want to come see us and meet us, and then what you left with, and a bit about yourself.
Well, honestly, I didn't quite know what to expect because I've never been to an event like this. I just moved to North Carolina about 3 years ago. My life has been in the business world, kind of like Nick, and I've had a lot of observations from my experience, and I had a driving desire to find intentional community when I retired from my job, and my wife and I moved to Mars Hill, North Carolina 3 years ago, and we absolutely love it here. And I feel like I'm now more free to be on my spiritual path and to grow. And I've been intrigued by your different events, Christy, and going back to the one in 2020, and I just find that this group has been speaking a truth that's been resonating with me the whole time. And quite honestly, it's not very in many circles. It's difficult to talk about many of these topics, and I really am grateful that I experienced our group because I feel I belong. I feel that I resonate with everything that I've experienced with all of you, and I decided to come to the event because I've been very curious about what's beyond the stars, and I have a limited experience with with knowledge about star beings, and I've done some reading in UFOs and all of that, but I've never had a firsthand experience, and I've never been in a place where people freely talk about these things. And so it was totally refreshing, and I felt driven to come, and I knew that there would be people that I would meet that I would connect with, and it was way beyond what I expected, to be quite honest.
Awesome.
Yeah. I believe that the group has the event has changed me, and I also suspect that that's the truth for many of us. And I feel that there was a sacred energy, that a vibration, like Aranyani was talking about, that was there, present and grew throughout the event, and it's still there. It's still a living thing that I feel that I'm carrying with me, a piece of that fire that we all shared, and so it was a wonderful experience.
Awesome. Yeah, that's, thank you for saying all of that. It means so much to me. Sometimes you spend all these hours working on these things, and, of course I was busy the whole weekend making sure this and that. So to hear that feedback is like gold to me. And I thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away by, it was beyond, the vibration was beyond what I had anticipated, and the preparation and all of the energy that everybody put into it, the passion, the dedication by the volunteers and by all the presenters, and everybody wanting to connect with one another, sharing phone numbers, wanting to connect in the future, knowing that there's something more that we can do together is very refreshing, and I'm very glad I came.
Yeah, awesome. And that's why we want to do these lives, is so we can continue to build those relationships. And I talked with someone today about doing a directory of folks that were there so that we can continue to stay connected. Maybe we didn't get everyone's number. I know there were several people that I wanted to connect with that I didn't get to. And then maybe even doing monthly stuff, smaller stuff, but just keeping this local family connected more than just once a year. So
absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. And I do think, go ahead, Nick. Yeah.
That's a really good idea because it gets people connected, it keeps them engaged, and it keeps the momentum going basically. Because we had a big push with this event, and if you wait a whole year, then and also if you have the directory, you can contact people as well and be like, hey, we got this event going on. It's really good to keep all that momentum going. And once a month, I know people like us, we're like craving for events like this. Like we love being around like-minded people. So I think that's a really good idea.
Awesome. You'd make the drive from Pennsylvania?
I don't know about monthly. I mean, that was
we'll template it out. You'll start your own up there in Pennsylvania. So fractal it out.
But I would definitely come down again, without a doubt. That was incredible. I love being there. It was absolutely incredible to meet everyone and be around that. It was life changing for me. It was amazing.
Awesome. I think so too. For me as well. This was the first year I left actually feeling invigorated. Usually I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need 6 weeks to, a couple months off. Don't talk to me. I feel like a new lease on life. And I think it was, and it was unexpected for me. I was overwhelmed with the quality of the vibration of the energy. And it was the accumulation of all of us being, and I know Wendy, you talk a lot about this, cohesion, the cohesiveness. We were all there in alignment with the right intention and integrity and open-mindedness, open-heartedness, having done work and knowing how to do work, and all of those things came into play. So very cool, very interesting.
What I really like, just one thing real quick, is the big thing that I took away from it was that it wasn't just the presenters or the people, or it was the guests and everyone there. There was very little, if any, ego. Everybody was there talking to every single person. The presenters, if you had a question, you just walk up to them and they would spend an hour talking with you. Like people, it was just, everybody loved sharing their information. There was no ego. We were all there just helping each other. Like that was my biggest takeaway. And that's what I feel made the event so amazing too.
It was refreshing.
Go ahead.
It was refreshing for me to be able to just experience others sharing what has been in my heart for many years, and not, and feeling, normally in order to, I'm looking for people to talk about things with, but I didn't have to really talk that much because everybody was singing my song.
That is that's a big takeaway that I've seen in like other communities and too. Like it's not like people like the people out in front that are talking, like it's like almost regular everyday people are starting to talk about stuff like this now, and it is absolutely refreshing to see.
Mm-hmm. We're normalizing it, and it's like the 100th monkey effect.
I want to jump in on that.
Yeah, I do.
I feel guided to speak on that. There is. It used to be that, there was just so many people in a clique or a group that had hubs for New Earth communities or, any kind of inspiring visionary pursuits or whatever. But the world is waking up. And this is what's so unbelievable. Since COVID, especially, people really got online, more than ever because it was available. And all of those things that were considered quasi, that's not 3D, that's not conservative, that's not normal, all of a sudden was even on the 6 o'clock news. And because people were finding out about their breath and meditation and how they could work their own inner alchemy and their own immunity because of everything stacking up with the fear-based levels. And because of that, people really got attuned to the frequency that's always been, always will be, and that keeps on shifting and evolving the higher consciousness realms. And we do this dance over and over again. So there's nothing new under the sun. And what I tell people is we're all equally a divine soul spark of the source creator. So these, codes and downloads are coming in all around the globe simultaneously. I work with a lot of musicians that are like, whoa, that's my sample material, or that's my, original Creative Commons or whatever. But no, I'm seeing it happen where it's all going out simultaneously, And whoever integrates that information, it's not a race to the finish line. It is the alchemy of co-creation. And so without a doubt, that's what's happening. And yesterday, I had a woman came to Dharma with us, and we had a conversation. She's like, we talked about how the astral dynamic, how the bubble, you know, how this place is so online for New Earth. And she lives in another city. And we were talking about doing a dance alchemy event together in a large metropolis and bringing people online. And she's like, we've got to find a way to, you know, wherever we go, there we are. So we interface with the crowd according to, can you come out of the galactic closet here? Or can you do it in a certain way here? So it's a vibrational thing. And you always learn how to read people, but you allow and empower them to come forth, you know, because more and more people are coming online and they're just looking for that invitation to share. So, and that's what I'm really finding, you know, it's really exciting, especially being in the South and hearing it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the new norm. Like y'all are saying, I love it. It's great. And it's just going to get better and better. So thinking about, you know, kind of, what made this work, what made this special. Certainly, you know, we've talked a bit about cohesion and being with like-minded people, kind of open-hearted, kind of open-minded, already doing the work, being high vibration. I thought what was so interesting was how cohesive we were despite the diversity. I know, Kristin, you and I have talked a bit about think this morning or yesterday about how diverse our group was. Okay, so let me just lay it out. We had the youngest, I think, was under 1. Like we had 2 little babies. I don't have children. I got to hold a baby. That was one of my highlights, just holding a baby. Like that's what happens when you're in community. You get all these experiences that you wouldn't normally get. We had the oldest was my dear father, who's going to be turning 80 soon, and he's been to all of my events. He's a huge supporter and fan, and loves everything UFO. So huge age range, which is great, because a lot of times you see, you know, just like all young people at an event or all older people at an event. So it made me so happy to see that age range and to be able to experience kind of that young hippie starseed vibe. You know, we had people who were living out of their car or van to very, very wealthy people sitting side by side, exchanging ideas. We had all cultures, I think, races represented for such a small group. I was very impressed with the diversity, and to be able to maintain cohesion in that big of a diverse group. What's the secret? What's the, what, you know, what made us be able to do that? I know, Kristin, you had some thoughts about community and soul family. I wonder if that's, if that has something.
I feel like that was the underlying thread, that we may not be connected in the lives that we're living now, but we are soul familiar with each other. We are soul family. And one of the big trends for coming into this new Earth timeline is you're going to be seeing a lot of people like shifting and migrating. And Ariane, I've heard you talk a lot about the sacredness, you know, of the mountains and the people who live there and the ancestry of it. And I hold that like in deep regard and deep respect, because like in those terms, I'm an outsider. And I kind of, you know, feel like people could like, well, who are they coming from Illinois, and why do they want to take over our land? You know, like it's because we're a soul family, and people are going to start moving and migrating back to areas and environments that support the truth of who they are, around the people that also support the truth of who they are. And the underlying energy that's shifting people and relocating people is because we're soul family. I had, you know, one of the other people who were part of the event reached out to me, you know, since then. So I spent some time kind of, you know, connecting, you know, with this person's energy. And then just for fun, you know, I kind of asked Source, I'm like, you know, show me maybe another timeline, another life that we shared, And it was interesting because I didn't get to actually talk to this person at the event where, Ken and I tried to be really mindful of talking to as many people as we could. But for some reason, we didn't actually talk to this person at the event. But what I was shown was that in another life that my husband and I had, this person was our daughter. And it was in that area, and way back, as Cherokees, and this person was our daughter. So we are soul connected. We are soul family, and that's how we're recognizing each other. And this is the time in the newer timeline that we're starting to find each other and co-create that cohesive vision, that we're all holding. So a lot of that is because we're that soul family. And that's how we're recognizing each other and why we're starting to find each other again.
Well, I can really relate to that. I know that when I first had to speak, and at the very first event we did, I had to do opening remarks, and not my thing. I'm not a fan of this. So of course, normally, I would be fretting and sick to my stomach and just not well, and then I just turn red and blush and all these things. But when I walked up there and got that for the first time on the microphone, this was year one. I was like so at ease, and I even commented during that talk, like, I feel like I'm in my living room talking to my family, my brothers and sisters. That's how at ease I felt. It was uncanny, and one of those things that was such a surprise to me. And so I'm sure it has to do with what you're talking about.
Yeah, because the New Earth paradigm is really about everyone showing up like in their soul truth and just living that truth. So imagine it's interesting because to create cohesion and to create unity, you have to first become separated. And what I mean by that is you have to first go inward and just really stay inward and hear your truth and align with your truth and do all your inner healing so that you can come forward in alignment, with your truth. And in that process, by honoring and accepting like yourself and knowing your truth, when you come back then into the group, into the community, you're just so focused on living your truth and minding your own business and living your truth. And if everyone is just doing that, then that's what builds the cohesion. That's what builds the unity. So it's like separating yourself first by like, quit worrying about everybody else and what everyone else is doing. Like, we have enough right now to like really come into alignment, each of us, with our own work, doing our own inner work, coming into that alignment, coming into that fullness. And then when we step forward as that, in that, and everyone's just being that, then the unity is just naturally just transcends.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. And I just wanted to let you know, Rob, I'm going to unmute you here. Sounds like you got some rain there, so it was just making a little noise. Sorry.
It's raining in commemoration of our weekend, I think.
I think so.
I love it. It's beautiful.
And I wanted to tell everybody that right as our as this event started today, there was a young buck that was sitting in my driveway right in front of me that stood there for probably about 20 minutes.
Wow.
So he was with us. He's with us today.
Very cool.
A young buck.
Nice. Awesome.
So if you're up at Mars Hill and getting the rain, I hear it's going to be down here soon. I feel like I do need to circle around with this. Just said, I think at the same time, Galactic Soul Family is integrating back into the Appalachia. You have the Appalachia having the biggest awakening that it has ever had through the slavery and indigenous women, and coming out of the closet, not only to speak the truth for the first time to a lot of people, but also to come into terms of why they're here in the timeline again as StarSeed. And, a lot of the work that I've been doing personally is, I call it integration work, where people can realize the Inlakesh, the oneness. And I feel this is something I want to see evolve more into the conscious spectrum of how can we get over the ego and step truly into the we-go. But, being here and from this area, especially seeing the first surge of the New Age movement here in Asheville, which has become a mecca. And it's so unbelievable at this point now that I find just as many people are relocating here as have lived here, that there is this whole dance happening that you have to approach it from a place of like acceptance, love, and understanding that, yes, these mountains are deeply, deeply rooted with the knowledge, and that many people are circling back around and coming back in. But in the same time, like I said, you have people that are dealing with deep ancestral stuff that are facing the shadows of what happened with their slavery or bloodline or whatever, that are also finding the healing and going into the ancestral clearing, and they're galactic starseeds. And there is a whole very authentic integration going on. And what I have found, because I'm a record keeper, is that people sometimes come here with a preconceived notion and a judgment of the South, that we're slow and that we're, just like laid back Southerners and, just good old boys and just, but when they come here and they get lit up by these mountains and realize the timeless, ageless integration and why a lot of the local folks here haven't shifted with the times, they're not excited about the new plant or the Walmart or, things expanding because they're sitting a spell, which is a form of meditation. So it's all like, it's beautiful when you hear a little Southern grandmother channel light language, and that's what's happening here. So I just really want people to realize how integrated that the spook pod is becoming in the Appalachian, these mountain ranges, because it's not always been that way. This has been a deep-rooted place in the South of persecution, but now it's coming together for a healing where even the churches are empty now because people are looking for true integration of Christ consciousness and the oneness. And so I'm kind of a historian from that perspective, and a geomancer that perspective of understanding the history, but telling it from her story, and also understanding like this timeline here in the Appalachia is a pivotal point for humanity. It's not only just, coming together for Appalachia's sake. It's coming together for the integrative, oneness of that capacity. And so,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Sorry, I was
Wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
Well said.
Yeah, it's so true. I want to piggyback on like when you opened, and I loved what Nick was saying about it's about creating something new, like a new system. And Ariana, you kind of piggybacked on that, a little bit too. I know, like, one of the main messages or insights that I wanted to share too is all about that also, because we're creating new communities, new earth, new paradigm, a new matrix, new timeline, whatever word or concept that you want to contain it in. The key word and the repeating word is new. So it's brand new. As a collective, individually and collectively as humanity, we have never done this before. It's all, oh gosh, hold on.
They're cooking at Kristin's house. I think she has a house full of people.
A little bit of chicken fried. I might need that cold beer. That's a story that we do not have time for tonight. I've never made like pan-fried chicken, but it doesn't matter. That's taken care of. But the key word is new. It's all new. So what does that mean? It means stepping out of all the old ways, all the old systems, and choosing something new. New thoughts, new mindsets, new behaviors, new actions. And we're talking about breaking mindsets and breaking behavior patterns that are eons and eons old. So if we think about beliefs are actually generally based on something of the past. Everything that we believe is generally based on something of the past experience, a past pattern, a past behavior, a past story, something of the past. and beliefs then ultimately become something that we choose. We choose what we believe. So it's being like really, really mindful and kind of pausing and really reflecting on, look at the areas of your life, where maybe you're struggling, you're getting a little hung up, maybe you feel stuck, maybe you feel confused, maybe you're getting triggered. And look at things in your life where you keep trying to do something the way that you've always done it before. Like, well, I've always done it this way. Why isn't it working? I've always, because we're meant to choose something new, and it's really profound and it's not easy to do. So it takes us really, mindfully looking at all those things. And a question that I ask, like some of my other groups and, some of the other people that I mentor is, what would you choose to believe if something outside of yourself wasn't leading the way? If you had no outer resource of any kind influencing you to choose, of what to believe, what would you choose to believe about yourself, about other people, about the world that we live in? It's an inner shift, and it's a shift in consciousness that is going to create this outer new earth, new timeline, new paradigm that we are all yearning for. And, just like we're just yearning for it so much. But it's the inner shift and the shift in our beliefs and our consciousness that's going to create, the outer reality. It's like what all of you have been saying. We talk about taking down the deep state or, eliminating the deep state. Well, if we're trying to take them down, we're actually engaging in the lower level energies that created it to begin with. Just ignore them and let's go over here and create the new, because they're not capable of that vibration. They can't follow us in these pockets of new paradigm and new earth that we're creating. They're not capable of the higher vibration of love and all things of love. So, I love what everyone said in the beginning, because that is really the key. Let's just come over here and focus on what we want to create and being in the truth of who we are. And that's how we eliminate them. Then they just, because they can't exist there.
It's true. I love all of that, and I know you're wanting to jump in here. Is that right, Aranyani?
Yes. I feel it in my spirit. I have to speak. So we call them OGs, or we call them ground crew. And I have so much respect and love and honor for ground crew. And we're going to do an event here. We're talking about how that can look to honor the ground crew. And what ground crew was dimensional movers, shakers, activators, cross-pollinators, alchemists that came here in the 50s, 60s that were mixing it up. Dan Winter comes to mind because he had a galactic community in Waynesville, North Carolina that was a New Earth community in the 70s or 80s. And so, but the collective consciousness wasn't ready for it yet. So there, I like to say with the billions of galaxies that we have, honestly, there's nothing new under the sun. I think our ego wants to associate with it. But, yesterday, even during our Dharma talk, there's nothing new under the sun. And that is something we have to realize, because a lot of us do remember this timeline. We're here again. And, when you come back and you do the due diligence and you have recall experiences, we're like, are we going to get it right this time? It's a collective consciousness going to raise in the vibration that we need to be able to bring the frequency of love, the 528 or above, onto surface in this timeline. And so I feel like we are there right now, and we have a choice to either make it or break it. Now, one thing that really blows my mind, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. And what I mean by that is that, even I bring up Atlantean Lemurian timeline because that's probably the most familiar one. But there's so many different timelines and so many different incarnations on this planet that we have had more of where we were levitating and we were in a place of cohesion. But what happened is that little ego tripped in again saying, oh yeah, what if we amplified this circuit and we rose the vibration here, then we could travel to another dimension. So we're always on a conquest when we get into the new earth frequency of how far can we go. And I'm speaking as not only a starseed, but as a galactic grandmother. And I have these conversations about the metaverse. A lot of conversations have creeped up about the metaverse, where we could live in another dimension if you want to, and make yourself think that you're really there. And it's kind of like the Inception game, where you can like be there just like that. And it could be a full, experience where you are actually feeling that, experiencing, tasting, touching, smelling. But that's also kind of the samsara. And I do have to bring this up because I feel it is pertinent, that everything that we have is within. We are the living alchemy. We are the living frequency. So no matter where we go, there we are. We just be the change we want to see. That is New Earth. Also, I have to speak about what my sister, and I love her. We don't always agree on everything, but that's okay. Do we all agree on everything? But I love her, Sienna Dearheart. I'm going to speak about her with respect. Donna and we got in a conversation about New Earth one day, and she looked at me. She's like, well, it's not like we can abort this one. She's like, and I said, well, what about rebirth Earth or renew Earth? Because Gaia Pachamama has been here under our feet in many different incarnations of our experience. So we just need to clean up this planet. It's not like we're aborting a mission on this Earth. The way we're going to shift the vibration is we are the inner alchemy, and we do it within our own sovereign being of raising the vibration, awareness, and consciousness. Then we become the galactic technology. Then it inspires and fires other people to do the same, and it wires the Earth a different frequency from the 5G to the 5D. And so it's all about, I'm just convinced there's nothing new under the sun. I think that with, when we look at all the telescope, I don't remember what telescope are we on now, I can't remember, but they're getting all these dimensional realms of this galaxy, that galaxy, and the third. And I can't remember the kid's name. His name is Max somebody, but he's like a 13-year-old genius. He's been called Tesla. And maybe you guys know who I'm talking about, but he's like, we are crossing over dimensions. So we're constantly doing this dance, and he's a physicist. He's been dubbed as a physicist, but he has a childlike connection to this world. So, it's there. We keep on intermingling with that circuit, and eventually we catch up. So we're quantum jumping, but we will catch up, where the Earth will be a 5D planet, but we have to get our light body on board for it. So I just say dance it in. I'm working on this event with a woman in Greenville called Dance for the Ancestors. And the whole idea is people are dealing with their ancestral stuff. And with love, blessings, and gratitude, give gratitude to the former generations and thank them that you had to go through everything that you did to get where you are in your understanding right now. But just dance with them and allow them to go on, because we're on this timeline, this specific timeline, for a reason. And it has a lot to do with what agreements that we made and everything, why we came back in a physical being. So there's just so much I can, go on with that,
Yeah.
but that's the brief synopsis.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Aranyani. I love it. Aranyani and I have like 2-hour conversations. I don't do that with very many people, but those are some deep stuff you just laid on us. I have to take a minute to absorb that. What do you guys think? Yeah.
And it's really, what she said is really about coming back to the truth of who we are as soul, as divine, sovereign, and free beings, and being that, because like I said in my talk at the event, that is the greatest crime against humanity, separating us from remembering the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
So it's more like shedding off all the layers, all the programming, all the control of all these things that we're really not. And it's coming back to that knowing of who we are. But you can only, it's an inner work, it's inner shift. And that's when we talk about the momentum of what we need to do to continue to build this. It's staying inward and staying in that connection with source energy, with your soul, with your higher self, all of those things, staying in that. And we can even do that, we talk about, like, we already miss each other. We already want to come back. Some of us, don't live in the area, won't be able to do that easily. But if we stay inward and if we take some times of quiet every day or however often you want to, we can reconnect with the energy of our group. And it's always there, like Ariana is saying, it's always there. It's just like tapping into it. So we can feel that energy of our group and recreate that for ourselves.
Definitely.
You know, by going, you know, to that conscious level of being that. Definitely. And like she said too, maybe we are multidimensional. Like that is part of the truth of who we are, is our multidimensionality. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to be in Illinois and North Carolina. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's you know, it's all there for
quantum jumping, sister. I've been waiting for it for years. I'm not even joking. Like I want to be.
Let's get the guys in here. Yeah, I know, Nick, you were wanting to say something. And I know, Rob, you shared that exact same thing that Kristin said with me on that last call we had about tapping into the energy. So that's real. Yeah. And I know you were Nick. So go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick.
So I wanted to get back to something that Kristin said that's very important. You know, the people who actually run the world that we live in right now, they know psychology extremely well. They know that literally the way our minds are built is what we will literally create in the world. So that's why they brainwash us. That's why they manipulate us. If you are putting out any information that's in the mainstream news, whether you're fighting it or you're putting out, you know, you're repeating the information that is out there, you're literally doing what they want you to do. It is not an individual thought. And like Kristin said, is that, you know, because I'm in the process of doing this as well. Like, I'm in the process of going within and finding myself and figuring out who I actually am. And only then can you come out with a message that's different and create a different world, because you have blocked out everything that, you know, this world is trying to get you to believe, like old belief patterns and crap like that. And we're just like, we're constantly creating them over and over again. Like Kristin said, is that if you drop your vibration or your energy down to anger and hatred, and you know, and then you start paying attention to what's going on in the media, you get anxious, depressed. You're in that lower vibration. You're literally creating what they want you to do. Even if you are, you know, fighting what the mainstream media is doing, you're down into that vibration of hatred and anger. And what it's doing is it's fueling the other side. It fuels the other side to keep fighting with you. It's a cycle. It's a pattern. The only way to break a cycle and a pattern, because we are, you know, we break generational curses in this life. You know, I did with my own personal life. I realized that I was living my dad's life out, and I redid everything that I'm doing, everything that my father did, but very differently and not in a destructive manner. And the only way to change shit is to break the cycle and the pattern. It's like when you're fighting with somebody, if you keep going at them, they're going to keep coming back at you. It's as simple as that. It is. So you have to drop your ego. You have to drop all of that crap and realize that when you are fighting someone, if you keep fighting them, they're going to keep fighting you back. It's as simple as that. You drop your ego and just be like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to pay attention to that. You don't have to like engage in that crap. And you go and you find like-minded people who understand the same that you do and don't engage in fighting and all of that crap. And then, like what you're doing right now, we found those people. We are creating a brand new way of living, a new way of life. We are not sitting here bitching on the internet. We are literally out in the real world making changes.
Yeah.
And that's I want to thank you guys for that, because it's incredible watching it. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And it's about, you know, some of the new age, new earth, you know, spiritual communities that have existed, you know, some of that energy can be like really unrelatable and intangible for, like, let's just say, like the everyday person. So it's also about bringing all of these like kind of mind-blowing, like esoteric concepts, though. We need to just bring it like down to earth for the everyday person, you know, and just live that and be that. Because, you know, there are so many tools and resources and methods and modalities that we can utilize to enhance our spirituality, to enhance our connection. But we have to just make it more common verbiage and everyday life.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
how
you
you
for
treat
saying that.
people when you go to the grocery store, just being that truth of who you are, that higher vibration and frequency, and no matter like what group you're in or what situation, and make it more like just the potter's wheel, and and create a
being
kind
able
of,
to
yeah.
speak to them on being able to speak to them on their level and what they understand.
Mhm.
And just
very
like
important.
kind of being that too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes don't even have to use so many words,
Mhm.
but
Role
just,
modeling. Mhm.
yeah.
We are. We really are the leaders to this new way of being in this new matrix, however you want to say it. Even though it's not new, it's new to us in this timeline. And we're role modeling. I saw a lot of role modeling at the event that weekend. Where things could have maybe egos could have maybe butted up against each other. Maybe there could have been a conflict, but I saw it role modeled and handled in a very mature and evolved and honoring all beings at all times with the greatest respect, even when you disagree. And if you live by those things on the regular, then it's easy to do it in community. But I tell you what, I think community is gonna show you where you haven't done your shadow work, and that in that sense it's medicine. And if you are evolve to where you're working on where you're not scared of shadow work anymore. I used to be like, shadow work, no, I don't think so. I'm good. But
It's
then
a
I
way of life.
realized how great it is, how powerful it is, and how it can really be kind of fun if you just become curious about it, not so judgmental on yourself. Oh yeah, I could do better there. It's really all it is. But when people are doing that, it makes it easier to be in community. When people aren't doing that, when they get in community, they're shown what they need to work on. So I love that.
Well, people look at shadow. People look at shadow work and they see it as all negative, but that's where you can unlock your gifts too. There's a lot of positivity in your shadow. I'm just going to say that because a lot of people skip over that.
Yeah,
and I was going to say that it is a spiritual conscious community, and it is about creative expression and modeling that new paradigm alchemy. But yeah, I want to tell you, even when you live in community, that's when you can be shown your shadow work. But the thing about it is, you have people hold you accountable.
Right.
That's what the game changer is. And I like to say, StarSeed chameleons is what I call them. So people kind of shape shift wherever they are. Like if you go to the grocery store and you see somebody who's had a new awakening and discovered yoga for the first time, you dial in on that wavelength. If you find someone doing conscious spoken word hip hop and light language, you dial in on that wavelength. If you find a healer that's doing, it's just all a different frequency, but it's the same energy field. So, that's going to
really
close
good.
Yeah, Rob, I know you wanted to say something. I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of great conversation. I, sparked a lot of thoughts. I'm not sure how many of them I'm going to remember, but going back to how the event affected me in my daily life, I believe that what I experienced and what I witnessed and felt was this loving kindness, this support and care for others. And I believe that those are the things: compassion, acceptance, and patience. Those are the things that are needed in order to propel us forward. And so I've with the energy of our event, and I've been really focusing on some of those things even more than normal. And I think at the end of the day, what we're saying is that we have to be the love that we are seeking, and we can show that to other people. Like you were saying, Nick, when you're in a conversation with somebody, what's more important, the relationship with that person or being right?
Yeah.
I and like Christy said, we learn through our experience in community, the shadow work, and people are like mirrors for us. So what we're seeing that we're reacting to is actually, what we're seeing in them is really what is in us that needs to be healed. And so just to be aware, the higher level of consciousness that's been generated from this event and all the wisdom of the people that were there, is really, really I feel is it can charge us to move forward. The event, I think calls us to take a step forward wherever you're at. Take a step forward and get out of your comfort zone and try something new and be kind and loving.
Yeah.
And let's see where it goes.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. I love those closing thoughts. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You
Not
want to say
hard.
anything? He hasn't said a thing, so I'm just wondering if he has.
Do you have any closing words for us, Adrigon?
Yeah, one thing I guess I'll share is I was really impressed with is the energy at the event and the vibration at the event seemed to parallel what I had experienced on courses and spiritual retreats that had been organized and put together by enlightened masters. There was that ascended master energy and those same sort of Davic energies that came down, and people, the transformation that I saw in people where it was a huge shift in their life. Just that one event was that sort of cornerstone or that exact thing that they needed to expand to that next level. And everything they were sharing were the exact same things and similar things that people share on those other courses that I had taken part of, where an aspect of life had been forever transformed and forever upgraded and then had propelled them to the very next part of their journey, among other things. And I've never seen that even closely emulated or attained in any kind of event outside of the direct guidance of any kind of physical a master. And definitely what I've noticed is that the energetic management seemed to set the intention in the grid to bring down those ascended master energies, Galactic Federation energies, and also collectively through, human hearts and intention to form that holographic conduit for that to then, bridge into this quantum timeline for those to unify together here. So that was just very, then also there's many people who came up to me as well and who we've continued to be in contact with, where, and some of them are part of ground crew light workers, where they said that their entire experience, and many people said this, in their entire life, this one event was like the event for them, for all of their time being ground crew, all the things that they had to go through, all of the darkness that they had to work their way through, and holding the light, holding that frequency. This was the one event out of all of the galactic events they had gone to that brought them home and got them so excited, like, wow, I see everything I did this for. I am now seeing the station come into being. And it's so special to hear that and to receive that from so many beings who were at the event, and to have them come to us also as we're working with them afterwards as well, and to hear these things and to be able to receive how heartfelt transmitted as well.
87 harmonic convergence. We had people say, I was at the 87 harmonic convergence. I've been waiting for an event like this. I've been on the path my whole entire time since the 87. It's good to know that starseeds are coming in now that are ready to raise the vibration on this wavelength. So that, that was
Thank
awesome.
you, Adrigon. Thank you for saying that. I used to say something, but I just wanted to say thank you. I haven't seen Adrigon and talked to him, so that's really the first I heard all of that feedback in that detail. So thank you so much for sharing that. And wow, it sounds like maybe we might have to do another one. I don't know. Go ahead.
Might. We have to.
I haven't been to some of your other events or some of the other things, obviously locally in your area. So I'm a little bit of an outsider. It was my only experience, but I just kind of intuitively feel that because there is a lot of that kind of new starseed galactic energy, but I feel there were enough of us present there, because what some of those starseeds need who are so connected galactically, if you know what I mean, they need ground. And I felt like there were some people there, like myself and my husband and other people too, who brought all this esoteric energy just down to earth and home. Like just really help ground it into the earth and into our family. And just
anchor it.
Anchor it. Yeah.
Yeah. You said something to me recently. All roles are important. You know, we need people who are up here, who are like living up here all the time, and then we need the people who are more like grounded, and we all just kind of work together in one beautiful body. So
all roles are necessary for the evolution of humanity, every one of them. And that other thing that I shared about love, let others voluntarily evolve.
Yeah.
You know,
that's my mantra. So thank you, sister, for sharing that. That's been a mantra for me. And also, I want to do the shout out for the event. You mentioned events, and if we could all gather again. So this is an open call to anyone who resonates. So we're at Heartwood Buddhist Ashram in Hendersonville. We're doing a galactic ecstatic dance around the 5 vidjas, and that's around creative expression, music, art, dance, cultivation, art, and visualization, metaphysics, and technology. So I can give Christy that link if she wants to do a little shout out or whatever. But all are invited to that. It's RSVP, and we're at a beautiful ashram in Hendersonville. So we'll be starting at 11:11 and ending that with 10:10. And Kyle Espenshade for Some Alchemy is going to be one of our audio alchemists that day. So it'll be really an awesome event.
Awesome. And what's the date on that, Wendy?
September the 3rd.
September the 3rd. All right. Yeah, I'll get the link. And it's in the Facebook group. And yay, Kyle will be there. He's awesome.
We're hot skipping it up away from Asheville, so we're not.
Beautiful. Any closing words? We want to do a round with any kind of closing words from everybody. Maybe we'll start with Rob. How about you?
Well, I'm really excited to see what happens next. This has been quite a journey so far, and I'm really looking forward to traveling along with you guys.
Yay. Thank you. What about you guys? Aranyani, Adrigon, any closing words for the audience?
The only thing I can say is just keep on being the change you want to see and raising and elevating the consciousness because you are being the change.
Yeah, beautiful. What about you, Kristin?
Oh man, just really stay inward and remember that truth of who you are as a divine, sovereign, and free being.
Awesome. Yeah. And what about you, Nick?
Amazing, Kristin. And it's about love, compassion, and understanding that we all have our own world, we have our own reality in our world, but everybody else has that. And when you can understand that, you can have love and compassion for somebody else's world. And every single person in this world is going through something. And a lot of them just want somebody to understand, to listen, to love, and be compassionate to them. And I feel by being that, you can really change other people's lives, because that's what I do. And that's what I have seen. I've seen people just blossom into the amazing being that is hidden underneath what society has done to us.
Yeah. Awesome. And from me, I would just say thank you for showing up. I mean, we all have our insecurities. We all have our doubts, our fears. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? What will they say? Et cetera, et cetera. It's hard to be in community. It's hard to show up. It's easy to kind of put your head down and stay in your own world. So thank you, everyone watching, everyone who came to any of the events, who will come to any of the future events. You guys for being here on the show and supporting me and the team and the vision. And it's truly a co-creation. So thank you guys so much for being here. Shall we do this again in a couple weeks? Shall we make this a thing?
Absolutely.
Sounds great.
100%. Awesome. I will be there.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a great night. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kristin. Thank you, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye. Blessings.
You have to